Well, the stage is set, and here we have it, the first battle that's going to kick off here between Rapid, Batman Booga, and the competitors that are landing all around them. There's about 3 teams down in this lower corner of the map, and you have to imagine this is where nerves are so high. But for Batman Booga and Rapid, they already have the advantage. They have the shield here to kick it off, and they're actually dictating the pace of the fight, cutting the opponents off already to try to secure the upper advantage.
Really nice lookout motives here by Rapid. Gets a solid placement on that last shield breaker EMP. Now just going to crank up a little bit, get some overhead view over Skater and Dalty, but Skater, Dalty, not one to go down without a fight. Love this split positioning though from Batman Booga. He's looking to try and take the flank opportunity here while the distraction coming from up high out of Rapid. Have to remember, this is also a duo who really left a pretty big impact throughout the course of semis. I mean, they had to battle their way through the lower bracket just to make it into the upper bracket. And then once they established their foothold there, found the victory royale during our win and in time.
Yeah, and it was towards the tail end, right? It wasn't a quick and easy in and out weekend for Rapid and Batman Booga by any means. They truly did have that uphill battle. They're one of the few teams that, you know, found favoritism to this types of format, but jumping into things, Rapid and Booga have to close this battle quickly if they want time to really get situated and beat the zone here as things are starting to move. And while this is all happening, the feed is equally lighting up as individuals are getting picked apart. So there's going to be plenty to update in just a couple of moments, but Rapid and Batman Booga haven't concluded the battle when they have the advantage.
No, and right now, still a little bit of a split approach here from Rapid and Batman Booga. They've got to deal with the likes of Skater and Dalty. Neither side wanting to forfeit anything further here at Research Rock, but Rapid, Batman Booga, again, still with a relatively massive shield advantage over the opposition currently. And yeah, MDF, right now it looks as if Rapid might have had a glimpse there into finally securing a knock or an elimination of some kind, but just not enough ammo in that Thunderburst to want to keep that engagement going. So it will be a brief fallback as now Batman Booga will continue to be a little bit split from his duo. Does have a good amount of that Flowberry Fizz though to keep himself well sustained. Now looking back, try and challenge the height. It's Dalty just looking for an escape route. Rapid not trying to let him have it. Skater as well splitting off from Dalty, but now it's Rapid who can find himself in a bit of a fickle position here. Just wants to get the wraparound onto Dalty. First shot from the pump, not going to be able to connect. Dalty still barely managing to hold on for dear life here inside of his box, but Rapid, he's got the positioning he needs. He just needs to close it out with the aim. But the box fight still looking to possibly be turned here. Batman Booga on the immediate retreat. Rapid now can't hold on any longer. Skater and Dalty Walty refusing to budge.
What just happened? That is what we call competitive pressure. Skater and Dalty Walty do not give up by any means. They managed to turn around what looked to be an absolute dismal situation, but Rapid, when it mattered most, when he had his opponent boxed off, when they played it so textbook, he could not land the shots that mattered most. What a crazy turn of events. Did not see that coming at all. But here we have it, Taco. We jump ahead with Cold and Acorn, who are surrounded by plenty of opponents here. This is just equally a part of the situation, but we have something even more important arising here. Aaron and Chance potentially taking out another favorite of Baka and Pars. Baka and Pars have had this historical slow start so far on all of their first features on the big weekends, and right now looks like you've got the lobby pressure and of course Aaron and Chance right on top of their heels, and that's going to find them eliminated here in full.
You can definitely tell that a lot of these teams trying to avoid some of those new surge thresholds that have been implemented, keeping in mind 4 less for every zone. So a lot of the action here, teams trying to confirm their damage, confirm these eliminations early on. Also, as far as Baka and Pars are concerned, their real downfall there is that fight essentially determining who's going to be able to secure the forecast tower. As of right now, though, a slightly separate engagement here. Peterbot Pollo not necessarily caught up in the action just yet, but don't necessarily know what their journey looked like. They've got their base built up currently around this forecast tower, but the moment it spawns in, you have to imagine Aaron and Chance willing to take another chance with another engagement.
A completely different story for Reet and Ritual, seemingly uncontested for their chance at, of course, this massive, massive advantage in the forecast towers. And we've seen so much occur as far as fights, battles, right? And key points of moments, critical moments occur here for the forecast towers for Reet and Ritual. If things continue this way, if no one gives them resistance, if no one impedes on their territory, they will have the greatest advantage to take an FNCS. And even Reet took to social media. He was talking about how he has never felt this supported by the community as a favorite, but he likes the way it feels. He feels great. And I think that mental addition is going to definitely show itself this weekend. And already, Taco, I mean, I'm feeling like they have everything set up for them.
Only time will tell, though, whether or not Reet and Ritual truly are the main characters of this first FNCS Grand Finals, because there's quite a few other teams here, Monster, that would love to take that title away from them. Epic Clicks, another duo that has a lot of fan favoritism supporting it. So can't ever count out Clicks or Epic in terms of making things be a little bit flashy as well on their approach here. But hanging out by Rebels Roost currently, Clicks and Epic, very common rotation for them to move from Lavish Lair over towards the Rebels Roost, where they know they're going to have at least one or two teams that they could look to try and secure some of their surge damage on.
Definitely have to find a fight. Dan Redux might be a great pick for them. We'll see how that ends up unfolding for them. Now on over the threats and Dukes. And one thing I did notice in the feed as G Money picks up an elimination right there is that Kanata might have found a knock in a full elimination, so they might be potentially conned. When I know we were coming out of the opening, you know, kind of ceremony of this NA coverage, talking about they might be completely uncontested, but I think there are some folks actually looking to adjust here. So we'll see who ultimately ends up having to battle their way out of their drop spots. Kanata and Aegis are completely healthy at the moment. For all we know, they could have beat the drop on someone. But look, they do have 2 eliminations here. And this is from those early game battles. It almost started off immediately with a fight there.
And seeing Kanata as well with this lock-on pistol, kind of curious, because with their drop being by the Ritzy Riviera, they have a little bit of eyesight overhead with that slight elevation. More on that later, though, as right now, Epic Clicks found exactly what they're looking for. It's a fight up against Dan Redux. Absolutely gassed. Nothing in the tank there for Day.
What a great tag. Epic Whale Clicks making quick work of Day and Redux here. With no one around either in the zone, that's a perfect setup for them. I'm a little concerned, actually, of how fast that fight happened, that they're not going to have enough surge, believe it or not. You know, you go from 200 to 0 that quick. That's just 400 damage off of 2 players. They didn't seemingly have time to heal or anything like it. But the show goes on at the complete opposite side. Rise and Yamzo. We chatted about how they have this 2-day formula locked in, but day 1 is the most pivotal, the most critical of their success. If they can take the lead here, they do have the history of playing very well after making adjustments leading into day 2. And for them to be the last team to rotate right now, granted they do have some grapple hooks, is still extremely concerning.
Even have the options there for crash pads if they so choose, but the way that Rise and Yamzo are running past that farm ability definitely indicates that a lot more favoritism towards just using those grapples instead. But Rise actually maxed out on metal currently, still looking to try and ensure that Yamzo has just as much of those hard materials steadily available, because as they make this rotate heading north out of the hazy hillside, they're definitely going to have to try and battle up against the likes of teams that are already situated, already poised on some of that northern elevation, so it could make things rather difficult. So they'll definitely want as much hard material as possible for those rotates.
Yeah, very important to single out the fact that they are putting that much emphasis. They're willing to trade out positioning for better, high-grade material. But Bugha and Aviv, the complete opposite, already at the zone here. Not maxed out on metal or brick by any means here. However, they are trying to play for key positioning so they can set themselves up to not only stay away from potential opponents and players on the edge, but find themselves some tags and really determine the pacing at which they take their battles. It's a great spot to be in here at the Reckless Railways. Like we talked about, we already know this general territory is housed by Ritual, but they have the storm information, right? They know exactly where to go with that forecast tower. So unless they're long gone, I mean, we can assume the zone might be pulling this way. We'll see when we get an update with them.
The other thing that Bugha and Aviv are likely going to be keeping an eye out for, as well as honestly every single team participating in this grand lobby MDF, is the fact that these combat caches, I think with these new surge changes having been implemented, probably expect more players to try and get aggressive with those caches. I know oftentimes you won't necessarily see teams too head-on ready to aggress, but it's not just the material having that max metal, but just having the opportunity, generating the opportunity to get some surge tags online, such as what Muzz and Paper are lying in wait by the bush, Necco balls, just the wrong neighborhood, man, and that's part of the play that's involved with the Grands weekend. Muzz, Paper just, again, creating their own opportunity.
That is right. This is game one of the FNCS Grand Finals. If you're just tuning in, don't miss a beat here. Things are going to start getting pretty intense now as we're approaching the new Storm Surge thresholds. We talked about that 70 threshold being the place to be, the marker to have to fight towards. And if things don't start to turn up now, it's only going to become more and more of a issue for the lobby. But we've seen plenty of action here for an FNCS Grand Finals game number one, which continues to be set as far as pacing is concerned for an NA server. You can see there the new thresholds updated.
And yeah, based off that fourth zone, 74 remaining players, we're due to see at least a couple of players maybe making some plays out of desperation as they try to get those damage thresholds above what they need. Skittles still trying to remain proactive as well. It'd be difficult though to acquire tags with just a standard Ranger pistol from a distance.
Take a look at the push right here. Golden and Ozone thought they had the coast clear, and all of a sudden Zooks and company land right up here on the Rift Island. They won't be able to secure the cache. However, they will get all the brick and material down on the bottom edge. For Golden and Company, this is the better spot to be. And I'm actually surprised we don't see Clicks and Epic Whale up here. We've seen them throughout all of the semifinals weekends play for this Rift Island zone, and they generally have landed just to the north. You think they have rotated south by now if they're taking out Dan Redux. So positioning might be looking a little wary for them as we start edging into the later rounds of this game. We last checked in with Re and Ritual. They were at pretty much their general drop spot at the railways, so we know the zone's going to likely be pulling center and or eastern. We'll see when the timer updates. For now, Acorn and Cold are looking a bit desperate here, Taco. Very, very low material even after the 50-50 split, so you have to assume that both of these players are less than half their material cap count. They will have to battle here shortly.
For sure, but they can at least pick a more calculated moment in comparison to some of the other teams that might be surrounding them, given that their damage threshold is several hundred above. Acorn likely on the lookout, currently trying to scout, see if there is a possible third-party opportunity where they can look for that chance to secure some eliminations, build their damage even higher, but most importantly of all, get those materials, because they are most definitely going to need them throughout the course of these rotates, especially coming from that south side edge of the zone where a lot of the congestion is going to be building up anyway.
Trashy and Skittles continue to maintain this high ground spot. We already know that Skittles is having a very hard time with that tactical pistol, finding tags at range, so this is really all up to Trashy here to get this pressure going, to get these tags landed. Otherwise, they will start to fall behind very, very quickly. That's just one of the risks you take, prioritizing a more close range battle or weaponry. Meanwhile, Clicks finds an elimination in the feed there, so Clicks and Epic Whale continuing to turn on the gas pedal even under the pressure of what will be, of course, the Storm Surge to come here later. But for now, look, the pacing of the game moving faster than the warnings, showing that we really do have a very active NA server right now. They're not playing any games. They're not taking any chances. You have to respect an aggressive game one coming out of the lobby. Just tells us that we have confident players in here.
Confidence, certainly something that Peterbot has more than an ample amount of. But Peterbot, Pollo, actually going to make their approach from inside of this little ravine. And now Peterbot still trying to keep an eye out for some of these other teams. Knows that they're trying to get slightly further ahead into zone, but Peterbot's got to be careful here. He's got one right in front of him. G-Money trying to look for a regroup opportunity. As Peterbot will find a chance to get that small shield potion off. A little bit of Flowberry Fizz as well out of Pollo. Now it'll be Pollo. Peterbot following the rotation. Encrypted and Ducky just ahead. Same for Diego plays. G-Money, but it's going to be Diego who gets the bulk of the damage there out of Peterbot.
And look at the key right here. They jump on G-Money right away. They don't want to give this up by any means. And Peterbot is the exception, not the rule. When you push into a team, you have to be very much worried that everything can end. Normally, Peterbot will be able to slip out of this type of situation, but you have to assume the pressure of the server is looming on all of these competitors right now, and it just doesn't go his way this time around. And now Diego is left to pick up the pieces here. G-Money at 4 eliminations, by the way. They get finished here very early to the hands of Ducky and Encrypted. Keep in mind, a great day one performance is important, but day two is even more important as the points are going to be worth even more. 1.5 times as much, in fact.
That's such a tragic situation, though, for G-Money and Diego. They were more than set on their surge damage. Peterbot and Pollo just taking such an aggressive jump into their box like that right as the 2-tick zone is approaching, and both teams caught out of it. Just can't imagine that it was ever going to be that beneficial for Peterbot and Pollo either, but at the very least...
Paper took down Kanata. Paper just took down Kanata right there. We haven't seen Agers fall, but Taco, that's looking pretty tight for some of the favorites.
At least it's game one, if anything. That's something that always to keep in the back of your mind. Even if you don't get the best start to the day, if you're at least able to close things out in match number 6 with a solid finish, you still feel pretty good about your odds heading into day 2 typically, because consistency will be the key for these teams here today. There's a lot of teams dogpiling each other here at the Lavish Lair Garden. Trashy just trying to keep it moving, wants to break into that edge of zone, get some positional favoritism before the rest of the lobby has a chance to catch up. Trashy knows that if this zone continues to pull towards that north side, does not want to get caught in that south end congestion. But it's hard to look back and find those tag opportunities to maintain above that damage threshold too.
What's crazy about what we're watching, especially like, forget the gameplay on the screen, I'm just looking at the way the map, the bottom right, the way all of the players are moving, they are just ratting their way edge to edge. This is really showing you that there's an anomaly occurring here on the FNCS Grand Finals. This is how important it is to the players that they just want to get to the safety of the zone, base down, and if they have to fight, so be it. They'll take those fights. For Reet and Ritual, they have much more knowledge than others. They know where the next zone's going, right? So they're playing a different level of game strategically. However, they need to fight still. They need the surge here. This is a very important battle, and they find a couple tags, but they're hurt in the process.
It will be just enough, though.
You have a knock.
Given that Dalty, though, could be very difficult to actually get to. Most importantly is the fact that at least for right now, Reet will get a little bit of space here. Ritual just continuing to target forward. Skater again finding his way, just squeezing out of the box that Reet and Ritual were looking to knock on the door of. But again, Reet and Ritual now still feeling the pressure, because the next zone kickoff, it means that you've just no room to ever really feel comfortable. So many of these teams just feeling the pressure now from that surge threshold.
Well, here it is. Jumping in with Sphinx and Pump. Pump is down. Sphinx is left to play this out by himself, so he finds himself a nice little elimination to keep him in the game. Just barely holding on by a thread there. However, for Reet and Ritual, things are still looking tough. Although they go back and forth here with their surge damage, other teams have an eye on top of them. 20 seconds until the damage does start to turn completely online. And if they don't find tags now, I mean, it might just be impossible to do so later. But you never know, given the nature of the lobby, players are going to start to fall here. It could potentially survive a little bit longer. I'm more curious to see as to why Ree and crew haven't actually just healed just yet with the Flowberry Fizz. If they wait any longer, it's going to be pretty tough.
Seems as though Ree and Ritual are really just banking on the fact that they wanted to maintain that Flowberry Fizz for when their shields inevitably get cracked. They can use this Flowberry Fizz to try and regen a little bit of shield, try and keep their white HP from going down too low. All they need is 4 more players to go down. But at the same time, no one is willing to budge from their box. If you're safe, if you're not below that damage threshold, there's no reason to peek right now. Likely teams also able to hear the shield cracks. Ritual now forced to expend the medkits as well. Heal off. Not even a thought process for Reet and Ritual currently. They are just begging for anybody to peek so they can look for an opportunity here to get some damage going.
Incredible to think they only need a tag. They actually find it right there. And it is so close. They are just barely holding on. Now, let's not count them safe just yet, as of course, 3 more players still have to fall. And there's going to be the next threshold that they're going to have to worry about there. But what an intense moment, and they were virtually gifted. Again, gifted all the information from the tower early on. Bugha also having a very difficult game here. Take a look at this. Aviv with a singular elimination taken out. Ritual under pressure now from the rifle of Bugha. He's only 39 above. Make that 100 now, but also just very much on that very thin lining here, trying to hold on to this tournament run here.
Granted, it is still Bugha, though. And definitely a player that has more than earned his respect here in this Grand Finals lobby, but Reet won't be able to hang on for much longer. Gets picked off as he desperately tries to make a play on the low ground for some damage. That's going to be the end of his Lobby 1 run, but Byla up top here with Quanti. Now going to look to try to max pull zone here. So Byla just want to get straight towards the next zone, but immediately you look to use that grapple blade towards frontside zone, you're going to get ate up in the process here. Byla, Quanti just barely managing to get a little bit of a chance, get some resustain going. Clicks an Epic on the other note though, inside the Maker on layers, having a chance now to peek up at height. Trying to see if they can get a chop going as well. You know this is a team that loves going for a height overtake as well.
I was just going to say, I'm so happy we tuned in when we did, because you saw that is literally what they do around this time. They start to eye up high ground. They've done it every single weekend so far, but never against the likes of Cold and Acorn, because Cold and Acorn have found it tremendously difficult to make it to endgame, let alone be in a high ground position. Meanwhile, Yamzo and Rise are just continuing to cook here, but they are below the surge and they're fighting ever so for it. And just because you have a grapple hook, you can see it is not free by any means to find yourself safe into the next zone. Pressure is coming from every single angle as the surge continues to force players to make decisions they wouldn't otherwise make. Yamzo, Rise traps someone in the box, but not quick enough to get the elimination, and it's Byla who's on the run right now with TK on the other side of the wall and Quanti in the mix. And look at this, Taco, they are just turning online, but high ground, a battle, Clicks an Epic Whale going for it.
And it's just straight grapple up. That's the method from Epic and Clicks. Epic, though, forced to fall back. Seems his damage a little bit too much to continue trying to hold height there for the time being. Duke threats more or less the same boat. Also try to look for a little bit of a height challenge here. Now Duke forced try and use his med kit, but using the med kit also means that he can't be moving directly behind threats. So this team wants to be careful, doesn't want to get too split here as the zone continues to pull across the course of Lavish Lair. And it's Acorn and Cold still managing to hold on to height.
did an excellent job defending against Clix and Epic Whale. I'm actually surprised they managed to do that considering they had two singular towers based out a very difficult way to hold the zone. But you know what? They each hold their own, and look at this. Clix continue to tear up here as he's at 5 eliminations, forced to the low ground. Epic Whale's down, no builds, has to rat his way into the edge here, and he has continued to go. He finds a solo in front of him. It's Cold. It might be Acorn as well. No, it's actually just Cold coming down, trying to single out Clix, and he is super hurt, sandwiched between two players, but Acorn is there to back him up, and down goes Clix and Epic inside top 10 of the ultimate low ground. Trashy here with just 4 eliminations, trying to make the best here, but they've already done so much. And the sleeper duo of Muzz and Paper securing high ground. This might be their game.
Muzz and Paper, though, drop in momentarily. Looks like they want to try and apply some pressure towards this bottom side. Rise and Yamzo, when these two are together, the low ground demons really tend to shine here. As now it's just a Minish as a solo directly above Rise and Yamzo. They've got ample mats to keep targeting forward. That's going to be a drop down momentarily from Paper and Muzz. They're trying to find these last few players standing in the lobby. But it's Rise, it's Yamzo. Still continuing to control the low ground. Acorn in the back. He's just trying to go for the heal off.
He's just going for placement points right now, but one thing is clear. Rise and Yamzo are closing in on 10 eliminations, and we've seen game 1 wins with 10 elims back to back to back, but Acorn is that wild factor as he snipes up the high ground here. Rise and Yamzo get taken out to the hands of Muzz and Paper. Paper jumps down and goes for it all, and in the end, Muzz is the one who is still standing. It seems like Muzz and Paper did just enough to take that first game there.
And that's incredibly close, by the way. For a moment there, it looked as though there was going to be an upset opportunity. Yeah, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
We've seen a lot of trades, actually. It'd be not a surprise to me if that was a very much fair trade and Acorn potentially took it. Who knows at this point? But take a look from the other perspective. Paper and Muzz had the determination to win this game, and I wanted to call them out a little bit sooner. I love the fact they were rotating a little bit later instead of immediately grapple hooking in, and it seems like that was the key to success here, as at the very end, they ride the storm out. Take a look, Muzz is in the back lines, healing, and on the front lines, we have the exchange happen out there, and Muzz gets the elim 6-1, and that's 7 eliminations for Paper and Muzz there.
And Paper